Welcome to the third installment of our beginner's sketch course. Okay, so in the previous lesson you learned about observation, how to observe by looking and how to observe without looking. So there's usually another lesson which I do prior to this, which is usually called an upside down drawing. But in this case, due to technical issues and copyright issues, I can't do that. It requires me using a different form. So today, I'm going to be exploring the subject form. So before we do any kind of shading of any sort, we learn about form. Now, when you're looking at this kind of, the view now, you're seeing my apple from the top. So it's going to be a little different to the drawing. So in this exercise, what you'll be needing is an actual apple. You'll be needing your sketching pencils, preferably B, 2B, 3B, 4B, and an eraser, and of course your sketch pad. So when we talk about form, it is basically referring to shape in its three-dimensional form. In other words, like you can see the front, the side, behind, and back. So instead of a flat shape, you would see a round shape. Now, this exercise is quite fun to do. Usually when I teach it, I can use a fake apple, or I can use a real apple, like in this case, where the student can actually enjoy the apple after class. Now, just to show you a setup, you're looking at my setup from an aerial point of view. So I'm going to show it to you on the screen here. What you need to do is set up your sketchpad, horizontal view, okay? And basically your apple would be in front. Now normally I would give it a little bit of distance, okay, on the table. So, but for video purposes, I'm going to be showing it like this first, and then later on, during the actual drawing process, I'll be moving it up further away. So, okay, let's get started. So now, this is your apple, okay, and basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be drawing your apple like that onto your page like this. So when you're placing it, place it in front of you, quite a space. I'm going to be putting it on top for the space so that you can see my drawing. Now, to get started, okay. So you want to take out your B pencil or an F pencil or a light pencil and position yourself in a way. Okay. Now, on your drawing, you want to draw an horizon line. And horizon line basically refers to the point where the top and the bottom meet. Usually you will learn that with perspective. I don't know why I'm not being able to tell you that today, but yeah, okay. So you want to position your apple in a place, position quite neatly done. And what you want to do is you want to start, okay, drawing the horizon line. The horizon line usually refers to the line that you see behind the apple. So it's usually the rule of the thirds. It's usually never in the middle. It's usually either on top here, here, or here. So if you've ever had a camera, when you look inside a traditional camera or single lens camera, you will see some grid lines. Now usually your grid lines go across two vertical lines like that and two lines like that. Now in this drawing, you're going to be creating something similar to that. And it will teach you how to see form in a way. This is a fun drawing. It's very enjoyable to do. I did it before. I still remember doing it, and I still teach it to this day. So one thing that I want to do is, when you get started, set aside at least 1 hour, 30 minutes to 1 hour for this drawing. Do not rush this drawing. There's a tendency for a lot of people to rush this drawing. They'll do it very quickly and you won't get the results that you were looking for. So when I'm going to start my drawing here, okay, very lightly, you can barely see my lines. So I'm going to move my apple to quite a distance so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Even I make mistakes all the time. So when you're drawing your apple, keep in mind, when you're drawing your apple, you have to look at it. So I'm actually looking at my apple. It's just that I'm putting it here in front on top. So when you look at a shape, it's not always what you think. Okay. So when I draw the apple, I'm going to draw bit by bit by bit. And it's quite large. I'm going to fill up space. As you can see, I'm going very lightly. On here. Okay, so you may, at this point, you may want to speed up the video, or you may want to, you can pause it either way. So let's go here. And we're not going to do shading today. So that'll be the very next lesson. You're welcome to try this with an orange as well, but I find that an apple is the easiest shape to do. So So you kind of go along here. Okay. And once you're kind of confident and you feel ready, keep in mind what I normally encourage students to do is to look at one bit, one bit, one bit, one bit on your apple, not on your drawing. You should be looking 90% at your object, about 10% at your paper. And it's very hard for beginner students to do that because there's a tendency, they will always want to look at their sketch pad. It drives me crazy. I always remind them, modern technology, we have an eraser. So when you make a mistake, well, this is actually not that modern, but yeah, you can erase. That's the beauty of it. That's the whole beauty of it. So don't worry. If you look down your paper and you see you've got a line going woo like that, you can erase it. That's fine. That's the whole point. So let's get started. So even for me, I make mistakes all the time. So okay, so for the form bit, what you want to do is, okay, you're going to be drawing lines going out like that. You're going to be following the shape. So if it looks a bit like a pumpkin, it's not. So you can start with your horizontal lines first, going down very lightly. This will give you a better idea. It's just an exercise. How to look at something. You can imagine these lines on your apple. As you can see, it's not a perfect drawing. So once you feel more confident, okay, you will notice where the light kind of falls. In this case, I have light coming in from this side and it's slightly darker this side. So my lines are going to go over the same lines. And go just a little bit darker, not much. So I'm going a little bit too fast with this drawing. But you're welcome to slow it down. So when you get to these lines, you will see I'm going to erase this part here, and then I'm going to go and kind of do this. Continue my lines off my page. Okay. And then these lines, note, now if you had more space in your drawing, it'd be much wider. And they're going in a different direction. When you get to this part here, okay. So I'm quite happy with this, but not so happy with this. So I just took a 3B. And this is what I meant by a grid drawing. So your lines at the bottom, when you draw this here, it kind of goes out like that. And it's much wider and bigger, the space, when it's close to you. So what you want to do is kind of keep this level here the same, and here also the same. And then do that, like that. So the bottom again is much darker. And like here, go there, go lighter. Here. Okay. So I'm going to move my drawing a little bit out of the way, and that's what it looks like when it's done. Looks a bit like a spider web or web. So when you finish with it, or you think you're finished, try to clean up as much edges as you can. You'll see this area is very light, and that is very quite dark, because this is where the light is coming in from, and this space here is kind of dark. So in today's exercise, lesson 3, we call this form. So you may put it as form. Okay. You can of course use a banana or an orange, but I like to use an apple. And there we go, just to put it here. There. And done. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it.